Hi Sharon, it's an absolute pleasure to meet you today.
Thank you.
We connected on LinkedIn, and I know you got in touch with me, and I was taken away by your story. So you've experienced a lot, and it's really inspiring to see how you've been through trauma that's led you to, inspired you to set up various different businesses with the overall goal of helping others. Perhaps you could give me a little bit of background about yourself and tell me what you're involved with.
Yeah, so where it really started was I lost my son, Luca. He was stillborn full term back in June 2012. A point in my life where I never thought I'd ever come back from. It was so dark. I thought of taking my own life. And there's a lot of things that kind of happened in that time that um, hard to explain on a call like this, but definitely things that I thought, is it just me? And then realised that actually it's quite normal to feel things such as, the loneliness that I was feeling, the emptiness, the need of sort of not wanting to go out anywhere, not wanting people to see me. Um, that's kind of where it started 9 years ago. And then we were blessed with another son literally a week before Luca's birthday the following year. And I think really his older brother saved his life because we had to insist on him being born early because of the way we lost Luca. And and had we not, he had the cord wrapped around his neck twice and he would have suffocated in my room if we had not insisted on that. So in a way, Luca saved his brother's life. And then slowly, started to find life again. I think Kai, my second son, really brought life back into us and built up from there. And finally, I was in a place where I was back at work. I was building my career as a project manager. We were trying for a third child, and I was then involved in a car accident, and a woman not concentrating. She was on her phone, went into the back of me when I was stationary at a roundabout, and that brought on severe whiplash, something I've never experienced before. I've never had a car accident before, and that brought on fibromyalgia, which is chronic pain and fatigue syndrome, which is debilitating. I'm registered disabled. I have a blue badge. I have days where I can't function, and days like this where I just put on a bit of makeup and it looks like I'm absolutely fine. But
Yeah.
actually, I've got pain running down my back right now, and it just smile through it, I suppose, because you
Yeah.
just haven't really got much choice but to get on with it.
And how
And
much support did you feel you had going through that? Did you feel that there were organisations there that really helped you, that understood you? Do you feel that mentally, I mean, going through having your first child when everything goes normally is a massive shock to the system. But did you feel, or do you feel that you identified gaps, which has led on to some of the work that you're now involved with?
yes, absolutely. There was definitely gaps in when Luca died. One was that, and I think they were quite new at the time as well, called a cuddle cot. It's a cold
Mm.
cot, something we didn't have. It was what it does. It preserves the baby's body, so basically keeps them cold, so that you can have longer to say your goodbyes. So with Luca, we had mere hours,
Mm.
but with the cuddle cot, we could have had days with him, or even up to a week. So that not having that was so significant to us because we know how much it could have helped us in that time where we had to pass him over. And I kept telling them to go away because I'm not giving him to them. And I decided after his 6th anniversary, so I was riddled with pain from fibromyalgia, sciatica, and it was his 6th anniversary. I'd lost my career as a project manager. So everything kind of accumulated in that one day, um, on, on his anniversary, and I had a breakdown. Just
Mm.
everything was like, I lost everything that I had worked for, and that kind of in the career way, as well as, you know, my son still, you know, isn't here and still grieving for him. And then it's the first time I was alone as well, because my younger son Kai just started school.
Oh,
So
so have you got, you had 3 boys in total?
no, I've had two.
2 boys.
Two boys, so Luca and Kai. So Kai, we were blessed with a year later, and he was now at school. So
Oh,
my husband wasn't taking that time off. He was taking time off in the school holidays. So first time I was alone that day, and it hit me like a tsunami. It really, the emotions I hadn't thought, you know, why it came out of nowhere, and from that, really was my breaking point. Was my breakthrough,
yeah.
and I decided to set up a charity in Luca's memory, the Luca Foundation. I'm also called Sharon Luca as well now, so Sharon hyphen Chatter actually,
I love
but
that.
we added Luca to our surname because my promise to him is always to keep his memory and name alive. And what better way to do it than to add it to our surname and
Yeah.
so mostly I'm known as Sharon Luca now, which I love because, you know,
Yeah.
I say my son's name all the time. And so I've set up the charity, making sure that maternity units all have working cuddle cots, because it's, if you don't have it in that small gap of time when you give birth to your baby, and if you don't have it imminently then, you've lost that time, you've lost that chance of having that. And it was really important for me to not have people feel the way I did, because that lives with me even today. So 9 years on, I've, you know, we repair cuddle cots for maternity units as well as provide new ones if they have none. But we also work with baby hospices because they have cuddle cots, and a few funeral directors in remote areas where there are no maternity units nearby, but a person needs a cuddle cot at home for their baby. So we do that now, which is bringing me some internal satisfaction that I can help other people. It's bittersweet really, because although I'm helping them, it's another baby loss. And all, you know, we have about a statistic of 14 babies dying every day, whether that's stillborn, neonatal loss, or prematurely, and that doesn't even include miscarriages.
Yeah.
So shockingly, because of the pandemic, I recently learned that within the Warwickshire area where I live, I learned that there was 6 months worth of baby loss in 1 month because of the pandemic, and that just shocked me to my very core, because I can't imagine how many women could have done with a cuddle cot and probably missed out because there wouldn't have been enough around. And so I just want to make sure that, you know, people are getting what they should have to get that time with their baby, and not live with regrets that I have now. For example, you know, his grandparents didn't get to hold him. I didn't take a picture of him in my arms, which I really regret, because at that point it's like, I don't want a picture of me crying holding him. Actually, I didn't think, well, actually I could just have him, a photo of him in my arms, don't have to have my face in it. So I had a picture, this one behind me actually, drawn of me holding Luca, because that was my only kind of way of getting that something with him. But the work we do is also about breaking the silence and breaking the the taboo that is in society about talking about loss and bereavement, not just baby loss, but bereavement as a whole.
Yeah, because I think it's one thing what you go through, but then it's like we talked earlier, having to live with that. And it's not a case of, okay, that happened last week, we'll move on now. So I'd imagine that a lot of people reach out to you, really, don't they, for support? And I bet one of the questions you get quite a lot is, I can't cope, how do I do it? Will life get better? And I suppose to you, you're the inspiration, the hope that you give to a lot of people that you have been through it, and life, you know, changes, but you do have to find your own way of kind of dealing with it. And I guess a lot of your stories help because it makes people realise that that's absolutely completely normal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've written a book, which hopefully will be out by the end of this month in time for Baby Loss Awareness Week, early October, called Angel Warrior. And I've got a t-shirt on as well because I do that through my clothing.
Is that one of your clothing range?
Yeah. So I've got LK Eco Style. It's the way I make my money, sort of pocket money, really. It's a little business that I run from home. The printing's all done by somebody else because the fibromyalgia makes me have shaky hands, so I can't do it myself. But Angel Warrior was sort of what I thought when Luca died. Is there's no name for a bereaved parent. There isn't. You know, if you lost your partner, you're a widow, or if you could be orphaned. You know, there's different names for different kind of losses. But there isn't one for bereaved parents. So I thought Angel Warrior because you know our angels, they are our angels, whether you believe in angels or not. They're in the sky or wherever you feel that they are, but we're the warriors down here carrying on through life without them, and it's hard. It's a really hard journey. You know, I try and live life the best life as I can, and I started to, like I said, after having my second son, we started finding life again. While still grieving for Luca, and we taught him actually that he's got a brother who's a star in the sky. So he knows he can't see him; he can only see him as a star when it comes out at night. And but when he was 4.5, he's 8 now. He asked me, "How did Luca die?" And that's a really hard conversation to have with children. And so explained it, and I said his heart stopped, and that led to more conversations, which led to how did my dog die, which obviously it's the same answer, his heart stopped. And I thought, well, actually children need to know the real side of it because there's so much available online that they could look at which might not be appropriate. It's not the way you want them to see or learn about bereavement. So I wrote a book, and it's for the charity, so it's a non-profit charity. Like I said, I don't take any funds from it for any wages or anything, but this book helps us to do the work we need to with cuddle cots. And it's called Why Did Granddad Die? Because more often than not it's a grandparent that they're going to lose. And I remember asking my mum when my great granddad died, well, why did granddad die, you know? And it's that kind of conversation, but it includes a pet. Obviously it includes my discussion with Kai about Luca, and it's got some nice pictures that can just help them to understand what loss is, and that we have a ceremony called a funeral. That's where we say goodbye to the body. And so if they are going to attend a funeral, they've got a few pictures there that could give them an idea of what it's going to look like. So you just don't know who, you know, what age group's ever going to attend a funeral or not. But it's also okay for mommy and daddy to cry. So don't be upset if they're crying. It's not your fault. They're crying the tears of love that they can't hold or hug the person that they love that's gone. So it's got all those important messages in there to help children understand it, and know that it's okay to be upset, and know that it's okay if mommy and daddy are upset. So don't yourself get upset because mommy and daddy are upset. But we can look at photos and things and keep their memory alive in other ways.
And if somebody's experiencing that at the moment and think that's absolutely the book I need to help me through it because I don't know how to explain it myself, how would somebody get hold of the book?
From the Luca Foundation. So it's www.thelucafoundation.org.uk. We've got a little store in there, and it's book. Yeah, I will post that out.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
So back to the, sorry, carry on.
But then Angel Warrior, my journey, that's going to be coming out. This is a mock-up version of the cover, but it would look slightly different, but similar picture. That hopefully should be out by the end of this month. But that's given an idea of what actually really happens in baby loss, you know, the real hardcore part of it for people to understand why a parent is never going to move on. You know, the hardcore part of it. I mean, one of the biggest shocking things of this, when the editor was going through it, I'll give a snippet, was that I was on a labour ward where other babies were being born alive, and I knew my baby was going to be born sleeping. And that was so hard mentally to know that as much as I'm happy that there's babies out there being born alive and perfectly well, it was hard for me because our room was silent. And that was just awful. And I felt that's one of the things I hope this book can achieve and change for people going forward, and for maternity units and health professionals to understand the trauma that brings on for a couple.
I think it's hard for both parents as well, because obviously the mother's going through it and naturally the one who's been through that whole journey, had the baby. But I think also I'd imagine there's takeaways in the book for the father as well, as in how they support and how they deal with it, because they're probably back to work potentially a lot quicker. Don't tend to open up, don't really talk. So I think it's such a difficult situation for everyone involved, isn't it? Whether it's your first child or your second child, and you've got another child to explain to why there's no baby coming home. So I think it's great to see something that people can take comfort from.
Yeah, absolutely. And the two books really can help. I mean, the children's book, obviously, to explain to the child if you have got already a child that you need to explain it to. But then also Angel Warrior, that I've got summaries at the back of every chapter for anybody that needs to skip to summaries and think, what do I need to do at this point? And that is also to help those parents that are going through it at the time, but also the people that are supporting them. The kind of things that they could do to help those parents in that moment, really, in that darkest point of their lives. And I think what really needs to be also taken from learning about this is to actually start making society talk about bereavement, because it's the biggest taboo, and I felt people were ignoring the existence of Luca when they would just suddenly think we'd moved on. When we had Kai, oh, you've moved on now, you've got another son, you're fine. No, he doesn't replace the loss that we've had.
Yeah, and I think also sometimes, me included, I know when someone's been through something like that, I'm just so scared of saying the wrong thing. So it's not in sometimes probably that people think they're all right now, I'm not going to question how they're, you just don't know whether you want to talk about it. Should I ask them how they are, or is everybody else just ask them and they might not want to talk about it, might not be the right time. So I'd imagine you probably feel quite lonely as well, because people are a bit scared of you. I'd imagine people almost cross the road to not be near you because they're so horrified at what you're going through.
Yeah, absolutely. I had that experience, people crossing the road, not to have to talk to me. And it's so true that, you know, everyone deals with it in different ways. But we had some friends that came to see us who were very close with it. And he said, I don't know what to say. I've got no words. And the fact that he was honest and said, I don't know what to say. And there's no words to, you know, what do you say in a circumstance like that? And that's enough, because they came, they were here for us, they bought us some food. And they came to just see if we were okay. And that said it all. There was no words to be said. The fact that they came and they said, we don't know what to say, but we know you need something, and we're here for you. And that in any sort of bereavement, in any sort of loss, is enough to just say that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know from people, somebody that I know who's been through the same experience as you and had a little boy and didn't end up naming the child because she just couldn't bring herself to name this child, almost thought wasn't in the headspace to do it, and now really regrets that because she hasn't got a name to refer back to. Was that a conscious, I mean, was he going to be Luca before you knew that this was going to be the outcome? Was that always your name?
Yeah, we'd always chosen Luca for boy and Maya for girl. So we always knew, and we said we're still going to name him Luca, because we had to do a death certificate. So, you know, the birth gets registered, but the death gets registered as well.
Yeah.
So he exists as a person because we have his certificates.
Yeah.
I can understand the parents that can't come up with a name or things later. And I think that's what cuddle cots are really important for those parents, that they can't think straight in those 24 hours. There's just no way.
Yeah.
And then as things start filtering in slowly, you will think, oh, actually, yeah, let's just call him this or call her that, you know. Let's just go with the name we had. And I mean, it was inevitable for us that we wanted to name him Luca. That was the name I'd picked for him. And I'm glad we did. I'm really glad we did, because like I said, you know, we've added it to our surname, and it lives on through his brother, and hopefully generations to come as well, and through the foundation. And he's never going to be forgotten. And we mark his birthday every year. We cut cake for him. We buy presents to each other from him as well. So he's always part of our celebrations, even though he's not here. But it's also extremely hard. I'm trying not to cry, but it's also very hard that he's not here. We could say thank you to him. So my son's got in the habit of talking to the sky and say thanks, Luca. Present, you know. You know, that's all in the book as well. You know, the things that we do that help him be part of our lives still. And the foundation, obviously, people are aware of Luca now, and they weren't before. They can understand the magnitude of that loss. And I think it's the worst kind of loss for anybody, is to lose a child at any age, at any stage. And you know, and I thought of at the weekend, you know, Sarah Harding's parents. Yeah, she's 39, but she's still their baby. You know, and that's the thing. That's, you know, as society, I want to change society, and I think with the children's book we can eventually do that, because the children who have that book now, when they're adults in, you know, 10-15 years time, it'll be part of a normal conversation for them, and then we will start changing generations to come to have that. And the book actually was recognised and acknowledged by Kensington Palace, because I sent it for their children when they lost their dog. So when their dog died, and it was acknowledged as well as the charity, and they wish us every success to get it into primary schools, because that is what our aim is now, to get it into primary schools and to have that comfort of something being there. It's helped children during the pandemic. When people have come to me and said, can we have a book for this school? And I've donated it to the school because they've lost a teacher that they were very fond of. And the school has said, you know, this book has really helped. And that just enforces that message that it needs to be out there in schools, but also available for parents and families to buy when they need to as well.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, thank you so much for being so open, talking about something that's so difficult, but I think at the same time giving hope and strength and just support to other people, really, who are either going through or know they're about to go through something that's obviously a very difficult time. So, thank you, Sharon. It's been really a pleasure speaking to you.
And you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.